Hi there. Welcome to Within Living's YouTube channel. My name is Lois and I'm happy that you're here. Let me first ask you, please bear with me in this video. My voice is very raspy because the allergies are really kicking it in Florida. So I'm having a moment here. But anyway, here at Within Living, whether it's on my YouTube channel or my blog at WithinLiving.com, all our conversations are focused on spirituality, but with a specific focus on consciousness. The consciousness of who we call God or the superconscious mind. Some people even call it the infinite or the universe. It doesn't matter what we call it. It is the one and only I am that is the creative aspect of everything in existence. And we all live within this superconscious mind, if you will. So we're always here in our conversations going to be focusing on each one of us individually who is a direct part of this one conscious mind. We're all a part of it. We're all in it. We've never not been a part of it, and we can never be excluded from it. So our focus here is always going to be going back within ourselves, because God, the source, is within, not without. We live in the aspect of it, the presence of it without, but it is indeed within. So we're always going to be talking about going back within ourselves and connecting back with the consciousness, the awareness of being of who we were created to be. So having said that, I'm happy to bring you today's video. And my topic today is going to be talking about spirituality is about freedom. And I was inspired to bring this particular video, coaching a number of people at the moment and just having dialogue, going back and forth with some people on different platforms, and just observing the struggle that a lot of people who are going through or in a spiritual awakening are having. And so having gone through some of that myself, maybe 20, 30, 40 years even ago, I wanted to bring a new perspective to you, just to share with you what I have found to be true for myself. Okay, so for me, I want to ask you, before we get going, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm reading, I wrote it out, so forgive my eyes for looking down. What was your first moment of the realization of your spiritual awakening? Because each and every one of us had a moment where we call it that light bulb moment. Something happened, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. I am more than my humanity. There's more to me than just my body. There's more to me than just being flesh and blood. What was your moment of realization for that? I'm going to ask you, if you need to stop the video, stop it. Or if you need to come back and review it. But write that down. I'm asking you, write down what was the moment when you came to this awareness that indeed you were a part of the consciousness, a part of God, that you were in fact spirit and not just your human body, okay? And at the end of the video, I'm gonna tie together and give you an exercise to help you further enhance your spiritual growth. Okay, so having said that, let's clarify a few things. So spirituality, truly, your spiritual awakening, is really all about freedom. It is freedom. You were made, created in love. You are love at your essence. God, the source, the infinite, the universe, Yahweh, Allah, whatever we want to call it. It has aspects of being abundant, powerful, resourceful, whatever, but it is love. It identified itself as love. It is infinite love. It's not a love that we can logically, analytically get in the mind and analyze. It's not a love that we can even compare it to or equate it to the love that, let's say, a parent has for a child, or a mate has for the other mate, or a friend has for a friend. It goes far beyond that. It's a love that, first of all, it's absolutely unconditional. Unconditional. And it's infinite. It can't run out, it can't stop, and it can't judge. It is a love that I have never been able to articulate it to myself or to anyone else. And in conversations with numerous people, I've never really met anyone who's ever been able to really pinpoint it, tie it down, okay? So we can't tell you, no one can tell you what this infinite love of your source is for you. It is something that you are going to have to experience for yourself. And once you enter, it has always been there, by the way. It has never left, never failed. You might not have been aware of it, but when you awaken, whatever your moment was of realization that you are indeed more, that was the beginning of a new phase of your life's journey, because your life is never going to end. It's eternal. It has been going on long before we all came into human form. And when we drop these bodies that are the vessels, it will continue to go on. It is a part of the source. You are a part of the source. So when you first awakened, your awakening should have given you the realization in that moment of your freedom in some way or another. I can't tell you what way, because I don't know how you were awakened. For me, coming out of a very rigorous, if you will, I don't know a better word right now, religious background, it was just entrenched in me, yes, where I felt I had to work for, I had to earn, I had to appease God to receive this love. For me, when my awakening really shook the core of my being, and transformed me, because it is transformative, I heard that voice within me, the voice of the essence of me, the voice of the God of me, the source of me, say to me, it is in me, God, that you live, you move, and you have your very being, your very existence. How could you ever possibly have ever been separated from me, or ever will be separated from me? That was my moment of truth. So whatever yours was. So point is, in awakening, spiritual awakening, we awaken to realize we are more. And then somewhere along our journey, things that we've done from our past that was not in harmony or alignment or agreement, if you will, with the true divine nature of who we've now been awakened to recognize and realize that we are, then these things, they're embedded in the subconscious mind, the soul. Who's the God aspect of you? Who's actually awakening you to say, kiddo, listen up. You are far more than your humanity. You're far more than all your limitations. You're far more than your limited perspective of who you have believed. You have chosen, consciously or subconsciously, to choose to believe that you are. So from there on then, it will bring up to you, to each one of us, and reflect back to us things in our past that when we were doing them or participating in them, we did not consider them offense. We did not consider them unrighteous. We did not consider them as something I'd rather not do. We were doing them, consciously or subconsciously. So when we awaken and we see that now, let's say a person who had chosen, consciously or subconsciously, to be a habitual thief. So they were stealing. They couldn't see anything wrong with stealing. It's what I do. It's okay. Society will understand. I can justify my cause. I'm a victim. So everything should be justifiable to me for my stealing, right? And then when they've been awakened and they realize, every time you stole something, you didn't just take something from someone else. Because the law says, as you sow, so shall you also reap. Therefore, you've also robbed yourself of something. And they come to terms with that, and they see that for what it is. Then in awakening, the freedom then of understanding that's who I was, but it's not, or that's the behavior that I've been identifying with, but that is not who I truly at my source, at my existence am. Then that person then doesn't continue to focus on trying to, quote, cleanse themselves of that behavior or escape that, quote unquote, dark night of their soul of that behavior. No. Oh no, my friend, absolutely not. That's the last thing we want to do. Because as the law states, and the law is God, as you sow, so shall you also reap, right? And as the metaphysical law says, wherever your focus goes, there your manifestation must flow. So if you keep going back and keep focusing on this dark, quote, night of the soul, which is the experiences that we had that were not in harmony with our true divine nature, if we keep going back and focusing on them to, quote unquote, overcome them, then I hope you can see, not my opinion, but based on the law, then as you're focusing on doing that work, you're actually saying to the creative source of you, the God of you, I want more. I want more. This is my focus. I'm putting all my energy to here. So what ends up happening is you'll discover that you're digging yourself into a deeper and deeper pit of despair from these quote unquote dark nights or unpleasant behaviors or situations from your past. That is not what spiritual awakening should be about. Your spiritual awakening should be not an ongoing, unrelenting work of putting your energy into overcoming your past. No, my friend, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It will wear you out. And for those of you who've been doing that, look back over all the years that you've been doing that and write it out on paper. Write it down on paper. How much progress have you made? Because I'm absolutely sure you haven't made any progress. And if you've made any, it has been very minimal. That's not what this should be about. So how do you handle the dark night of the soul or the experiences that you encountered from the past, the self that you were identifying with from the past? Because that was an identification of self, of who you believed yourself to be. And now that you're awakened to realize that you're really more than that, then your freedom now comes in acknowledgement. Write these down, because this is a part of the exercise I want you to do this week. First off, acknowledging, and you're only acknowledging because that's how the logical mind works, okay? You're not acknowledging, quote, to God. You're per se. You're acknowledging, yes, that happened. I did that. I look back on that. And today, I really am sorrowful. I'm repentant, if you will. that happened. I understand now how from that behavior I have affected my world, my fellow man, because we're all one, and how I have affected my own life. And that's where the focus should be. That's where the key is. I have created whatever the havoc, the chaos, or the pleasure and abundance is in my own life. I created it based on my past fault concept of myself and consequently my behavior. So once I have identified that, and what you're doing is you're facing your issue. You're facing it. You're no longer going to run away from it. You're facing it head on. When you face it head on and you acknowledge it, yes, I was that. Yes, I did that. That wasn't good. That wasn't right. That wasn't my best version of me. But yeah, that's where I was at the time. But you know what? I am choosing to quote unquote repent. The word repent is not repenting to a God off someplace to forgive you, because remember, God's love is unconditional. It's a saying, I missed the mark. The word repentance in the Greek is metanoia. And the word metanoia, properly translated, means I have missed the mark. So I'm just acknowledging, you know what, I screwed up. I did. I missed the mark. But now that I've been so blessed in the freedom to have seen, because this is where the freedom starts, that I missed the mark, I am now turning around. That's what repentance is. I am choosing to turn around and go the other way. Means I am no longer going to affiliate with that mindset of the concept of myself that I had then. And I am now going to choose consciously to align with and adhere to this new concept of myself, of the true divine being that I am. This knowingness that I am loved. This knowingness that I am forgiven. This knowingness that I have never been judged. I am not judged. This knowingness that I have absolutely nothing to fear. This knowingness that I am always cared for, provided for, protected. And so going back to the person who was the thief, that person then might say, I am so repentant of this. I realize now I'm never going to steal anymore. And if I want to really turn that around, that person might then, if it's a situation, circumstance, because each situation is different, where they can actually maybe go back. Maybe let's say someone stole from a family member or a friend. They can go back and say, you know what? It may cost me my relationship with you. And I don't want that to happen. But what is more important to me than that is I'm going to be honest with myself. And in being honest with myself, I'm being honest with you. And I'm confessing to you, I stole from you. I took a mug from you that belonged to you that wasn't mine, and I took it. Or I took $100 from you. Or, you know, I slandered you. I did something really awful to you. I did that. Then I'm owning it. I'm asking you to forgive me, release me from that. And I want you to know, I have forgiven myself and I'm moving on. Okay. If you can do that in person, do that. If you cannot do that, then here's a way to clear it from your consciousness. Get 2 chairs and put 2 chairs facing each other like this. You sit in one chair, and in your mind's eye, imagine the person that you did wrong is sitting in this chair. And you go through that exercise with them and you tell them that. And once you tell them that, you say in this exercise, I now release myself from this situation with absolutely unconditional love. The unconditional love of my source, of my God. Okay? That person might have passed on and you can't talk to them in person anymore. But this is a way That because, see, their body is no longer here, but they're still present. This is a way to release yourself from that. Once you've released yourself from that, then your freedom is in knowing that I'm no longer in the limitations or the imprisonment, because it was an imprisonment that we are all in with invisible walls before we become spiritually awakened to recognize that we're really more than these amazing spiritual beings that we are. Oh God, isn't that wonderful though? You know, that just keeps blowing my mind, okay? But yes, so now then, own your freedom. Your freedom now then is to focus on aligning with your true divine nature. Your spiritual awakening is about putting the past behind, leaving it. Stop looking back at it. Stop working to fix it. It doesn't exist. It only really exists in your mind. For real. And remember, the thoughts, right? We can never get away from thoughts. Just love them. Okay, so in your mind, the work now is going to be, and if you need to release totally from them, you may need to create an affirmation for yourself. And I'm going to just give you one off right here. You might create an affirmation, something to the effect, if you don't know how to make one. If you know how to make one, feel free to go ahead. But for those of you who might need guidance of how to make one, always use first person. First person present tense. Never use going to in the future, because you're not going to. If you're going to, you're always going to be going to. Remember? We can only attract what we're sowing, or bring to us what we're sowing. So if you're sowing always going to, you're always going to be going to. So just create an affirmation that says, I am. Always use I am. I am is God. You are in God. And you are calling the awareness of the superconscious mind, God, to be awakened in you, to do the transformation, to create the manifestation of this new version of you. It already exists. You're simply stepping into the state of it. You are possessing it by your faith in claiming, decreeing, declaring, I am no longer a thief. I am a very generous person. I'm a very honest person. I'm a very loyal person. If it was, let's say, love that you're having an issue with, if maybe you had been an abused person, whether physically, emotionally, romantically, whatever, then you start affirming, I am absolutely loved and adored by the source of me. I am cared for. I am nurtured. I love myself. And yes, a coverall affirmation that would be good is just to begin to affirm, I love and accept myself unconditionally. In fact, use that one right there. That's one I give a lot in coaching and paid coaching, and I'm going to give that to you as a gift. Affirm as often as you need to, and in a firm way, not angry. No. Never bring anger in here, because it's only going to turn around to bite you. So always go in love, right? And you just affirm and affirm, I am loved, I am adored, I am accepted by my source, I'm provided for, I am free of judgments, I love me, I truly love me, I love and accept myself absolutely unconditionally, I love and accept myself unconditionally. I love and accept myself unconditionally. Okay, you notice right there I repeated it 3 times in a row. I did that deliberately. The reason for that is it's sort of called a robotic or rampaging affirmation. When you affirm the same thing, a very short sentence, repetitively, back to back to back to back to back to back to back, you're actually in the brain shutting out any other thought from coming in between. And so when you're shutting out other thoughts from interjecting, then these things that you're affirming then are coming immediately upon top of each other like that. And so the impression in the brain it is a lot more intense, a lot more in depth, and it takes a lot faster. So there you go. There is, I'm coming to the end of the video here now, but anyway, so this is the conversation for today about spiritual awakening and your freedom. For those of you who've been really having a hard time with your spiritual awakening, I hope this gives you some freedom. You should not feel exhausted. You should not feel like, oh, you're at your wit's end. You should not feel like you're just plowing the way for years and years on and on. No, awakened to the realization that your spiritual awakening really is your freedom. Your freedom to be who you authentically are. Not the bogus person you are being in your persona, but allow the authentic nature of your divine self, the true you, the essence of you to flow out and to grace your world. Okay, so I hope this helps. So back to the exercise. Now, having listened to the video, I asked you in the beginning to write down what was that very moment for you? What was that was impressed upon you, that came to you, your realization of your spiritual awakening? And now that we've come to the end of the video, having written that question down and your answer to it down, go back through what we talked about in the video and look at areas in your life that might be things that keeps coming up from your subconscious mind that you keep feeling guilty and ashamed of. You're not supposed to feel guilty. And I will do another video in another week or two following up again about this, because there is no guilt. There is no condemnation to you for anything you have ever done. And as long as you're carrying the feelings, which are emotions, which are energy of guilt and condemnation, you're carrying the feeling of unworthiness. And as long as you're carrying that, let me tell you, my friend, you're blocking all the incredibly infinite abundant blessings that are divinely right by your birthright. They're there. They're waiting for you, but they can't come in because you're blocking them with that energy. So again, for the exercise, identify what that was in your realization. Identify what some of those past quote unquote dark nights of the soul might have been, and then create you an affirmation decreeing that you are gone forward from that. Oh, after you just release yourself, forgive, release, let go, move forward. Okay, so I hope this has helped. This is it for today. Okay, my intention was to bring you a blessing, and I know you're blessed, right? Of course you are. Blessings to you always. So, as always, you know what it is, right? I want those comments. Put them right there in the comment box down below. I truly enjoy hearing from you. It adds a blessing to my life, okay? And so just go ahead and put your comments down there and help us to spread these videos. Please, 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 if you watch it and you get something from it, won't you just go ahead and give it a like? Because I'm learning that the likes really helps YouTube to send it to other people. So let's try and help as many people as we can. So just put the comments down there, give us a like, a thumbs up, and remember, we're all in this one thing called consciousness. It's life. It's a thing called life. Everything exists in it. All life is in it. We are all one, a part of this super conscious mind, this thing that we call life, that loves us absolutely unconditionally. And I'm telling you, when you touch that love for yourself, everything in your world is going to shift. You will realize just that everything in your past has been wiped away. You are loved beyond measure. You are loved infinitely. You are loved unconditionally. And I am sending that love to you today. So for this week, bye-bye for now. And remember, we're one love.